We're talking about spring cleaning, but when we talk spring cleaning, we usually talk about, washing our windows and cleaning out our closets, but it's also a great time to talk about downsizing, perhaps with your elderly parent. I'm joined by family caregiving expert Stephanie Erickson. Welcome back to the show. Great to have you here. Let's talk about, first of all, some of the reasons why a parent may be considering, or maybe their family members are considering it's time to downsize.
Well, earlier you were talking about housing, so that could be one of the reasons, is that they just need a new residence due to health issues or mobility problems. Sometimes, though, your children move, move to another area of the country, into Toronto, Vancouver, and you want to go and join them. And also just keeping up a home is really challenging as you get older. First of all, the expenses and all of the little fix-me-up things that happen.
Well, and we were talking about that article I mentioned, and retirement homes, although the cheapest here, right, the most affordable here in Quebec, the waiting times are a big problem, and we're not keeping up with the amount of units that you need.
No, people have to wait years. We're running into a crisis for sure, even here.
We'll talk about that on another day. Let's talk about, it's an overwhelming task, especially for the parent themselves, the elderly parent. Why is it so overwhelming for them, and what should we take into consideration?
Well, change is good for most of us. Change is hard, but it also can be good. It can be the start of something bigger and better. But as you get older, when you're making that change, leaving your home and going into a retirement residence, you feel like this is the last change. It's kind of the beginning of the end, which is a horrible way to say it, but that's, I think, how people feel. And we need to remember that, is that somebody is saying goodbye. There's a lot of grief that's involved. Goodbye to the neighborhood, goodbye to the memories that I built with my family in this home. Goodbye to my independence, goodbye to my privacy, because I have people knocking on my door now in a residence checking up on me.
That's something I hadn't thought about. You're right.
Yeah, so it's really challenging.
So how do we help with that challenge? How can we help our parent?
Well, there's a lot of fun things that we can do, I think, that will help.
I'm glad you mentioned the word fun, because that's probably not the first thing that comes to a lot of people's mind.
Well, that's what I want to focus on, is the way that we can make this positive. So we have all of this memorabilia and all of these memories within our home that we should not ignore. Now, as an adult child, it's really hard to prompt those conversations, because we feel like we're saying, oh, you're going to be dying soon, so let me find out these stories. But it really doesn't have to be about that. It can be about creating memories for future generations. So some of the ideas. How about, let's get our recipes out. Get out our recipe book. Pick your, let's say, 10 favorite recipes. Film your senior parent making these recipes and telling the story behind the recipes. Film the family eating that meal, and now you have a keepsake, a memory forever of this family doing that.
What about things that are material? Listen, my mom admitted to me yesterday on Mother's Day, she, and because we've had some of this conversation, and said, I'm a bit of a hoarder, and, if ever I have to leave this home, what am I going to do with all that stuff? So what can we do to help them with that, psychologically?
Yeah, we're going to have that same problem. My husband has games since he was 5 years old. They're still in mint condition, amazingly. I think what we can do is take pictures of those items, number one, and there's all of these online books, like with Shutterfly or Jean Coutu. So you take pictures of the items, you put them into this online book, and you record, film your parent telling the story that's connected to the item, and you can transcribe it, put it within the book, and now you have the visual of the item and the story that's connected with it.
I thought another great idea that you sent along was, let's say those keepsakes from when, we were babies, and, maybe the blanket that we held on to. And you said, maybe cut little pieces of material out of these things.
Yeah, absolutely. Baby clothing, blankets, T-shirt, whatever it might be, you can cut a little item, and again, you can even take a picture. Or if someone is a knitter or a sewer, I don't even know what you would call it, tells you that I'm not that, you can actually make a larger blanket of all of these items if you want it as well.
The benefits, for somebody watching right now that knows that, they're in this position, they're going to be downsizing, what are some of the benefits that you can share with them to make it a positive experience?
Well, for me, the obvious benefit is just the connection. You're connecting with your parent in a meaningful way. And I think as we all are getting older and thinking about sometime we won't be here, we want to know that our legacy is left behind for future generations. And this is a way for the senior to go through that process of sharing their life, their meaning, what mattered to them, to younger generations, and knowing that those stories are going to continue on.
Always great advice, Stephanie. Thank you
Derek.
so much.
My
And maybe
pleasure.
we'll tackle that problem
The housing,
with
yes.
the housing issue
Yes.
in the, perhaps a little bit down the
Sure.
road. Hey, don't go anywhere. Coming up as we get close to the 8 o'clock hour, that means our headline news will tell you what's happening here in Montreal and around the world.